The other day I was just chilling out on my Discord server with some friends, but when I joined they were all already partied up and grinding rank 3s together. So I decided to queue the one playlist that no man should ever feel the need to queue. Solo Standard. And holy was it a terrible idea. Well, at the time it felt like it, but in hindsight, it may have turned out to be the best thing to happen to me in a long time because it allowed for this video to be a thing. What you're about to witness may be
The most ridiculously toxic turn of events I've ever witnessed firsthand in Rocket League.
But before we get into it, I'm currently on the road to 20,000 subscribers and I recently realised that a whopping 78% of you aren't subscribed. Meaning a lot of you are either forgetting to subscribe or actively choosing not to because you don't like my content. Either way, let's lower this number to raise this number. Deal? On with the video. Let's join into the first game with 3:15 left on the clock. By this point we were 1-0 down and as you can see, we'd already received a nice block and wow from our teammate Rentaki90, but pressure was slowly beginning to mount up on the opposing team's side of the field. And given the ultimate level of communication that Rentaki had clearly mastered, this next piece of incredibly important information will surely whet your appetites. Good old centering. But as he asked so sweetly whilst our teammate clearly had possession, I figured I'd oblige by centering the ball. Wait, Grand Champion? And he's calling out for the centre ball? Ah, not like this. No, really, not like this. Because, well, let's just roll back the tape. Not only is he a GC and still using these callouts, but he's misusing them. Centering is a statement, so why is he calling it out when he's not even in possession of the ball? And he's actually waiting, literally 2 feet from their goal, like a grizzly, hungry for some little fishes. Going 2-1 up in a sudden 5-second swing with this kickoff goal. Something seemed afoot with the other team, but that's not today's issue. On the next kickoff it nearly happened again, but with the ball clearly on its way over to me. Rentaki seemingly decided that I should have already rotated out by the way he used half of his boost to push all the way upfield, and then using the rest of it to cut me off by racing me to the ball. If only you'd stayed in the middle waiting for that centering again. It could have been a goal, or at the very least we could have maintained possession in their half. Instead we lost the ball, and this led to us scrambling back, to which I end up rushing to clear the ball. If only Wakid and Rentaki had have rotated in behind, instead of driving up the wall to do God knows what, he would have been back to make the simple save. But clearly I'm to blame again. The rest of this game played out, we ended up losing and I'm kicking myself because for some reason the post-game lobby didn't save, but he was being overly toxic for the events that had happened throughout the game. Oh well, on to game 2. Yes! Rentaki is back, boy! Last game was just a blip, right? Wrong. Immediately letting our teammate know what he thinks of him. And 1 minute later after Rentaki's incredible shot, he lets our teammate know of his mistakes once again. At which point Green hits back with the casual. Green, tell us when you are done playing against your own team. Imagine passing playing C1. Ah nah, better lose. Truer poetry has never been spoken. So let's look at this passing play that he wanted to go for from his POV, that resulted in us going down 2-0. We start from the kickoff from the previous goal, and not only does he take 2 boost pills, he then drives back towards our own goal, looking to catch or cushion the ball whilst completely oblivious of the positioning of anyone else on the field. But instead cooks Green's chance of maintaining decent possession, then under no pressure at all gives the ball away, which leads to us conceding. Yes, incredible passing play, bud. Proceeding to score somewhat of a said passing play, he changes his tune to applaud the play, right after being a cocky little shit. At this point I was struggling to bite my tongue and I had to say something to put him in his place. To which he quickly gained the upper hand. LOL! In all fairness, this next play was somewhat on Green as he double committed, but that's besides the point. From the time of Rentaki's challenge in midfield, 8 seconds passed before they'd scored, so let's see what he was doing to recover and get back to defend. Oh, okay, Rentaki. My bad. It was our mistake that you chose to go across for mid-boost instead of picking up the 2 pads right in front of you. If only we didn't make the mistake, you'd have actually been back in time to make the nice block you so often like to remind us of. Yep, definitely a paid GC right here. Imagine being bottom of the leaderboard and calling someone out for being a paid GC. After conceding the 4th goal, he went AFK from the game for literally 29 seconds just to type some shit aimed at Green, to which Green swiftly snatched the crown right from atop of Rentaki's balding dome. Rentaki right here confirmed the information, and I just got to say, anyone who is in their 30s and acting like that to others online seriously needs to get a grip on reality. The fact that someone in their 30s could act so childish in lobbies. So let's face it, a lot of people half their age is actually kinda mental. Anyway, I digress. Once again he decides to go AFK just to tell us the typical move of useless players. This guy's living on another planet, I swear. This next player shows just how much he's waffling out of his ass because he wouldn't go for the demo in this situation if he didn't have confidence in one of us to score. Anyway, this game ended 5-2 and miraculously he left without saying a word this time. I queued up again and what do you know? The delight on my face to see the return of Rentaki yet again. But strangely enough, he hadn't said a single word aside from calling out that he had one of the kickoffs. Could this be the one? Could this be the game where he doesn't be toxic? Has Rentaki seen the light and changed his ways? Well, that didn't last long, did it? The one time he realises his own mistake, he feels the need to openly make an excuse. Just say my bad or sorry or don't say anything at all and move on. Has he not noticed that literally no one called him out for it? Oh, but now I get why he's being so quiet and defensive. Poor Rentaki feels like he's the reason we're losing this time. Well, if this isn't the most ironic shit I've ever seen, calls me out for double committing to immediately doing it himself. Now this is where the video takes a very weird turn, but don't worry, Rentaki's still here and still on my team thankfully. And so, this is where we found the true nature of solo standard. See, I have Rentaki on my team, but apparently the other team is also filled with a bunch of Rentakis. All 3 opponents were completely static on kickoff. I began to argue from the get-go, to which I replied, what a surprise, non-stop toxicity in solo standard. To which Rentaki replied, said the right one, implying I've been toxic. Then followed up by, especially after causing ton of goal for enemies every game. Yikes. This fool is seriously trying to put the blame on me by saying I caused the goals we conceded throughout the previous 3 games. At this point, Kratos appeared, but not like the badass we all know and love. This time it was to ask about monitor refresh rates. This sparked a 5-minute long conversation about PC specs that lasted not only the entirety of the remainder of the game, but also the entire post-game lobby too. I was starting to wonder what I was witnessing and why everyone was so casual about it. But then I remembered I was playing solo standard where literally anything seems possible. I did find this little flex funny, but monitor is hard to choose because most of it is overhyped. Followed up by, I use RTX 280 Ti. Imagine that for Rocket League. So most monitors are overhyped, but what I can only assume he means RTX 2080 Ti isn't, especially for this game. The other team continued to argue amongst themselves. My teammates compared dick sizes, and I was just stuck in the middle of it waiting for it all to be over. So after all that had happened, we finally get a win, but that's completely besides the point. It was literally a 1v0, as no one else on the pitch cared about playing. And then out of nowhere, Rentaki hit us with the, never mind, good night and good game. Keep lucky, my friends. Like, what the fuck is this man smoking? He goes from being extremely toxic to just being nice. I don't have a clue what happened in this session. All I can say is good luck to anyone who decides to play solo standard and teams up with Rentaki, because who knows what experience you're gonna have. Don't forget to subscribe to help do the thing I mentioned in the start of the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.